Hey guys, it's Morgan. Welcome back to the Shlog, guys. We're back here at Highland Cycles, getting ready to get after it this week. A lot of you guys have been guessing on what is wrong with this KX85. Lots of guesses for broken reeds, lots of guesses for piston and backwards. Like I said, I think I have an idea by looking in the exhaust port, but I'm still going to keep you guys waiting just for a little bit longer as I take this thing apart. So let's get after it. Alright guys, so I got the exhaust pipe off. I looked in there. I actually don't think that the piston is in backwards. I am going to take another look. I don't see ring end gaps poking their way through, so I don't think that's what's going on. I am going to take the head off and just take a look in there, but I think it might be a power valve stuck. It also could be reeds, although they just replaced them, I think. So we're going to take those off and take a look, but I doubt it's that. So I'm hoping it's stuck power valve. Unfortunately, well, so whoever had this bike, I don't know if it was the kid that has it now or before, anyway, they did lots of cool guy stuff, and they put a bunch of really neat billet aluminum and a big radiator and all this stuff. But unfortunately what that's done has put this radiator in the way of this cover. So I can't take the cover off without moving the radiator. So that's one thing I don't love to do with bikes. I like to keep things kind of stock so I can work on them like they were intended to be worked on. These bikes are notorious for overheating, so I get why they put a big radiator on it, but that does make it a bit of a pain. I think though I can loosen this bolt that's under here and just slide it forward to get that off. So we can take that off, fire it up, and run it and see if that power valve is moving like it's supposed to. So I'm going to put the pipe back on so we can check that, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so we got it running. Not even trying to move. So my first thought when I looked in the cylinder, at the back wall of the cylinder, so actually the intake side of the cylinder, it just looked kind of polished up and no cross action, kind of like maybe it was just worn out. But it's got pretty good compression. Also, like I said, you can't see any ring in gap that would be like coming out on this side if the piston were backwards, so I don't think that's the problem. But I do believe that the power valve is causing it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to fire it back up, and I'm going to mechanically just force that thing open. So assuming that it then runs good on top, then we'll know that we have to fix that. The mechanism down in the bottom is kind of a funky ball bearing deal, and it does move and spring back, so it's not like broken, but there's something going on with it. I have seen the balls fall out of it before and people not notice, so that's a possibility, but we're going to dig into it and find out. So I'm going to fire it up and see if I can't force that thing to open. So maybe it is a lack of compression. It feels good though, like when you push it, it feels like it's got pretty good bump to it. So maybe I'll take that carb off, look at those reeds. Like I said, they just put new reeds in it, so I have a hard time thinking that it's that, but it definitely could be. So we'll probably start there. And then, yeah, we'll just keep digging into it. I don't think it's electrical, but it could be. The spark plug looks pretty good, so we're just going to keep going and see what we can find. Alright guys, so I've been digging into this thing. The cylinder doesn't look awesome. I called the customer. The cylinder's not new. They did put a new crank, new piston, all that stuff in it. The cylinder's not new, but it just has the compression feels too good for that to be causing it to run like it is. So it seemed like electrical. Well, at first I thought, obviously, maybe cylinder, maybe power valve. That's not it. That's not the problem. I checked all that stuff. Now I checked the electrical, and everything on the Stator checks out resistance-wise. I even checked the air gap here between the pickup coil and the Stator, or the flywheel, excuse me, and it was a little off, so I changed it. I moved it out a little bit further. But when I did that, it started and ran, and then it just died. And then I put a spark plug on the wire, left the old spark plug in there, kicked it, and no sparks. And then I moved the pickup coil a little bit closer to it, and it started to spark very dimly. So I think we got a Stator problem. I took a look at this. I don't have it off anymore, but it was super corroded, and it was corroded when they got the bike. They cleaned everything up as best they could, but I think we got a bad Stator. The CDI is hard to tell for sure. It may be bad also, but I'm pretty sure the Stator's no good because, like I said, that pickup coil, its resistance is on the high end of spec. Like, it's within like 20 or 30 ohms of being out of spec, so that's definitely not awesome. And I'm guessing that's what's caught, you know, if the air gap just gets a little bit big, which is still actually within spec for the air gap, it's not doing it. So yeah, I think we're going to get a Stator coming for it, and we'll check back in on this thing. So yeah, good job, guys. No one guessed it, but the reads were right. Everything's fine. Piston's definitely in the correct way. So yeah, I think we got a bad spark. Of course, you guys didn't get to hear it, so it's not really your fault. Anyway, on to the next job. Alright guys, next on my list is this lovely little XT250. This lady is getting ready to do a big tour. I think she's doing part of the BDR of Colorado, or I don't remember where. Anyway, she's doing a big off-road dual sport, and with a group that like kind of guides it, I guess. And they told her to get her bike in and make sure it is tip-top, because they do not want to have any mechanical failures, other than, you know, I mean, obviously if you crash, it's a different game, but so we're going to go through it, change the oil, touch all the spokes, touch all the nuts and bolts, make sure everything's tight. But the thing I want to talk to you guys about is it says to check the battery. So because I guess that's one thing they don't want anybody to have problems with. Also, this is a fuel-injected bike, so fuel-injected bikes really like to have good batteries in them, otherwise it's not awesome. So yeah, I'm going to change the oil and do all that stuff. When I get to the battery, I'll check in and show you guys how we check that, both the charging system and then also load test the battery. Alright guys, so got the XT250, oil's changed, check the spokes. We're putting a front tire on it too, so I haven't done that yet. But anyway, I'm going to show you how I check and load test the battery. I do have a load tester, but I'm going to show you how to do it with just a meter. So let me see if I can set you guys down here. Alright. So also got the tiniest, cutest little air filter drawing. What we're going to do is we're going to take our meter, put it on volts DC, like that. And we come down here and touch our terminals on the battery. 12.43, obviously that's good. We're also going to check the charging system. So now what I like to do is with it on there, make sure you guys can see. Here, hold on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the key on and watch it. Because that's going to run the pump, the lights and everything. Cool. So it dropped to 12. That's not bad. Now we're going to hit the button and we're going to watch it when we hit the button and see how far it drops. Alright, so it's definitely charging. You saw it go back up over 12.5 there. It's definitely charging, but it dropped to almost 10. So it dropped to almost 10 when I hit the start button. That's a little bit low, and that's a good way to load test if you don't have an actual load tester. I'm going to go grab our load tester and check my numbers, but to me that seems like that's a little bit too much of a drop, a voltage drop. When I hit the button, again, it's starting the bike, it's all working good, but I worry about on a long trip, if she accidentally leaves the battery, the key on for just like a little bit or something like that, it could kill that battery. So I'm gonna go grab my load tester, we'll check it, and then also we'll see if we have a battery here for it. All right, so got our load tester here. I'll show you how we hook this up. Let's go positive to positive, negative to negative, like everything else. There we go. These are actually pretty cool. I mean, if you have a shop, you should think about getting one of these things. You can hit voltage, see where we are, tells you that. Then we can go back to test. And now this is the setting for cold cranking amps. And I don't know what this little battery is supposed to test out at, but most little dirt bike batteries are somewhere in like 200 range. So we'll go 200. It doesn't really matter. I'll show you why. We'll set it for 200, hit test. So 155 shows that it's low. So the big thing is that, let's see, you gotta to reset it, you gotta unhook it and then hook it back up. So if we put it at 500 and hit test, it's gonna show us the same number. So it still says 155, just says low. So if you know about what it is, so it does seem low, like I thought. So I think what we're gonna do is put a new battery in this thing. So I'm gonna go check and see if we got one. If not, we should have one soon.
That's a problem.
All right, guys, so we got a new battery in the XT250. We also have a whole bunch of children working today. We got Cole, my son Thomas, Ewan. Ewan's working on the his bike, his old bike. There's gonna be a big story time coming about how this thing ended up back in our lives. I just can't even believe it. But anyway, we thought we had lost it. It's back. We are now going to sell it. So if you're interested, make sure you stay tuned here on the channel because we're going to be announcing that it's for sale. We got a couple things to fix because it did fall off the back of the van. But not too much, actually. It's in really, really good shape. So considering. Okay, that's good, bud. But anyway, now let me talk about this new battery. Let me just show you guys what the difference is in this new battery on, I'll just show you with the load tester here. Hang on. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, like on the other one, we're gonna drop down to 200. That's usually about what these little guys go, and then we're gonna test. And so 160, but again, I haven't even charged this thing, but it shows okay to low. The other one was 150, and it had charged quite a bit. So this one is in a lot better shape. So if we go like that, you see sitting here, 1252. There we go. Comes back up. So if you notice, it only dropped to 1196. The other one dropped all the way to 10 when I hit the start button. So this battery's a lot better. Also, it's already up to charging at 13. So for a big trip, I'm happy that we put that this new battery in there. The other one probably would have been okay, but since she's going on a big long trip, we might as well have everything perfect. And these batteries are not terribly expensive, like 65, 70 bucks. So it wasn't like a huge expense. Now we're gonna change the front tire and yeah, get back after it. All right, guys, next on the list is this 501, it's FE 501S. Gentleman owns that. He had us do a new silencer to get rid of the stupid clogged up one, put a Vortex ECU in it, and we did all that last year, and he didn't want us to block everything off that time. I don't know why. Can't remember what we talked about. Anyway, he brought it back. We're blocking everything off, getting rid of all the emissions junk on it. The nice thing is when you put the Vortex ECU on there, you can just unplug everything and no fault codes pop up. It doesn't blink the lights at you or anything like that. So anyway, I'm blocking all that off. And one of the things you have to block off is, where'd he go? There we go. So this guy is a little port that goes into the intake right there. And then the hose from it goes to the PCV valve, and anyway, whatever. So you take that thing out, which is nice, it's threaded, so you just delete that guy. And then we needed to, where'd it go? There we go. Oh, sorry. There we go. So then we needed a little short bolt to go in there, but I didn't have a bolt short enough so that it wouldn't like protrude into the intake track. So I had to cut it, and actually I just ground it down. But you can see, focus, you can see how that is not awesome looking, right? That's not going to thread in there at all. So we're going to talk about this week's tool spotlight, which is this super cool D-Burr guy. All right, so tool spotlight is this little D-Burr guy for when you grind things. It's made by Titan and chalks up in a drill, and it's cool. These are all bladed, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to chalk it up in the vise, and then as this spins, it's going to put a nice clean edge on that. So let me do that, and I'll show you what it looks like. So we should have just enough room. There we go, chalked up. There we go. You can see, full focus. There you go. So it's not perfect. I'm gonna take it over, see if it threads in really nice. It should. If it doesn't, I can take a die and run it down on there, but I'm gonna check first. All right, so it's not quite clean enough, but it's nice because now it's set up. I'll chalk it back in here. I'll grab my die, run that down on there. That'll clean those threads up. It'll thread right in. All right, we got a 6x1 die, tiny die holder. All right, I'm gonna run that down on there. All right, now that looks better. So go check and make sure. All right, guys, so the thing fits perfect now. I'm gonna take a little bit of blue Loctite, run that thing in there, and then yeah, get on with the next job. All right, guys, so today's project, as you can see, it's already torn apart. But this is a 2015, 16, anyway, whatever, pre-17 250 XCW, and we are doing a top end, and the coolest part is an RK-Tech head. So let me show you what we're talking about there if you guys haven't seen them before. So let's back up. First of all, I love RK-Tech heads, and they work really, really good on my bikes. They've been just absolutely brilliant, really transformed the bike. So they only make the billet head for the newer bikes. I don't think they make them for any of the older bikes. They also make them for YZ250s. So, but they can get you an RK-Tech shaped head. All you have to do is either send him your old head, or what this lady did was bought another new head and then sent that in and had it shaped. So here's the stock one. Actually, Miss Jackson has her bike burning really well. It looks nice and good and clean and happy. It's not all carboned up. So there's the stock one. And then what she did was she bought another brand new stock head and sent it to Kelsey to do his magic. So you can see, obviously, the machining marks is one of his classic traits. And if you look at just the overall shape, everything is different. This deck height right here is, you know, that's a lot thicker than here. So the compression is going to be quite a bit higher. I forget exactly what she had him do, like what elevation, but probably like a 6 to 10,000 range on pump gas. I know she doesn't want to deal with any race gas, so yeah, anyway, it's pretty cool. They can do that. I forget what he charges, like 150 bucks, I think is what they charge, something like that. So it ends up being a pretty inexpensive, especially if you just send your old one in. So anyway, got that ready to go on. We got the cylinder apart here. Let's take a look. Kim's cylinder looks really good. There we go. Nice. Looks really good. I'm going to put it in our ultrasonic and clean it all up, and it will be ready to go back on. Power valve looks perfect, so I don't even know. I don't know. I'm gonna get it cleaned up in the ultrasonic and take a look. I may not take it apart because it looks really good. I don't know. We'll see. I might just pop this cover off and replace the O-rings, because why not? I don't know. I guess I'll just take it apart. Might as well, because this bike has quite a few hours on it. I think I'll just go ahead and pop it out. Mainly to replace the O-rings, not because the power valve needs to be cleaned. all that much. There's really no carbon buildup at all, and it moves perfectly. But there are a few O-rings in there that we'll definitely replace. So anyway, take that apart, drop in the ultrasonic, get it cleaned up, and then I got to pull a bike in here to start cleaning the carburetor. All right, guys, so I'm taking out the power valve parts, these keepers right here. They're these little 25 T25 Torx, and there's my Torx bit. I just want to show you something, kind of a cool tech tip. So you can see it's getting kind of worn from just lots of taking things apart that were tight. So it's a snap-on, and I could just give it back to him and get a new one, but that doesn't happen till tomorrow. He doesn't show up till tomorrow. So let me show you a super duper tech tip for this, and it works with Allen's too, and they're starting to get kind of rounded. You can almost see that it's like, focus, there we go. You see how it's getting kind of small? So what you do, and since the snap-on guy will still replace it, we'll give it back to him. And yes, I'm going to grind on the side of this wheel, and no, I'm not putting safety glasses on. I'm trusting in my safety squints, and you guys just go off. I don't care on my safety. I'm fine, whatever, we'll be good. So we just come in here. There we go. Sharpen that guy up. There we go. Now we'll go put this in here, and it should fit really good and not slip. Still going to use the blue wrench to heat it up, because there's always Loctite on these things. Fits a lot tighter than it was before. Let's see if I can hold this in there with one hand. There we go. So there you go, guys. A little tech tip for you. If you need to get through, tell your local snap-on guy, or if you just got cheap tools, you can grind those things down. And like I said, it works really good for Allen's too, because Allen's will get kind of rounded on the ends where they've had to do lots of work. See, it's these O-rings and these O-rings and these O-rings that I'm taking apart, because like I said, this power valve actually looks really good. I mean, there's a little tiny bit, you can't even feel it though, it's just colored. A little bit on the sides though. So anyway, we'll get it all cleaned up, but the main reason I'm doing this is to get these O-rings replaced, since it's got some time on it. Alright guys, so we got the cylinder on and everything ready to go. I'm going to install the RK Tech head. I'm going to put this thing on, bolt it down, and then I'm going to start with the carburetor. I'm going to go up 3 main jet sizes on the carb. She's got it running really good. Obviously the thing looked great and it runs awesome. But I'm going to go ahead, go up 3 main jet sizes, and maybe 1 on the Pilot, maybe 2. I don't know. I'll decide. I got to look in there and see what's in there. And then we'll fire it up and let it run. And I talked to Kim, this is her bike, and I'll probably stop there with 1 jetting, and then she's gonna jet it. She likes jetting bikes and making sure they're perfect. So yeah, gonna do that now. Nothing special, just putting this thing on. Top end went well. Sorry I didn't film that, but I've got lots of film videos of me doing 2-stroke top ends on KTMs. I'll try to remember to put a card up here. If I don't, you can just search Highland Cycles KTM top end and you'll find it here on YouTube. So anyway, gonna do that. We'll check in if we find anything else interesting. All right guys, got it all back together. Got coolant in it. Definitely gonna leave the cap off on this one. It's got a thermostat. These W's all come with thermostats in the line, and so it's a real good way to end up with a big air bubble in there if you don't run it for a while, and make sure it clears and starts moving fluid. So I think we got everything done. We got the new spark plug, oil's in the bottom end, everything's good to go. Oil and gas, I say we hit the button and see what happens. Oh, there we go. Turn the choke on because I didn't do that. came up from Wyoming to have us do the work, which are, I guess, down from Wyoming to have us do the work, so that's super cool. We just ordered everything ahead of time, got everything here, and scheduled the time, and so she's going to be in and out in a day. Brand new top end, RK head. This thing should absolutely rip for her. I'm really excited. So, all right, on to the next job. All right, guys, next job. Well, actually, first, just got done with that. Super duper clean 300 XCW. I haven't seen one of that era that clean in quite a while. Anyway, that's a beautiful thing. But we just got that lowered and valved by TBT. Brady, thank you so much, Brady, for getting that done. We are still working on getting our TBT set up here. It's going to be a little bit. Travis has just got lots going on. So anyway, he's going to get us set up pretty soon. So next job, though, is for Mr. Jared Renner. He is putting 6th gear into his 450. It's a Husky, so it's a, I don't know if it's a FC or if it's an F. Anyway, whatever. It's only got 5 speeds because it's a 450. So he's putting a 6th gear into it, which I think is an awesome idea. But while he's doing that, we're going to freshen everything up. Or he's going to freshen everything up. He had us. We're going to run a ball hone through this guy and clean it up and make it nice and pretty. And then we're going to put new valve seals in the head for him. He's not having any issues, no burning oil or anything like that, but if you're going to take the thing apart, you might as well make it all fresh and happy. So, yeah, I'm going to take care of the hone on the cylinder, and then I'll show you how we take these heads apart and put seals in it. It's pretty cool, actually. All right, guys, so got the head up here. One really good way to hold a head up so that you can get the spring compressor and everything, get the valves out, is get a punch or something like this, put it in your vise, crank it down really tight, and then you can just set it through one of the holes, and you're not going to hurt anything like that. You do want to make sure it's nice and tight so it doesn't like flip over and fall down. So, first thing I like to do is set up a zone here in my tray for putting things. So, put intake up here, TX for exhaust right there, and then we're going to have, you know, left, right. And we're going to put our shims in here like that. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but anyway, that way we can just put everything down and then we can put it all back in, especially since we're not really wanting to change anything. The head, nothing wrong with the bike, so we're not changing valve shims or anything, but we want to pull them out, put them down where they need to go, and then put them back in so we don't mix them up. So here's something, guys. This is actually really interesting. So I grabbed my T20 or T30 Torx. Dave! And I was just gonna make sure it was the right size, and I set it down in here, and that's spun by hand. I don't think Jared has messed with this thing, so that's pretty interesting. So it turns out he may have gotten really lucky in the timing of doing all this. So anyway, I gotta get these off because there's this keeper holds the cam in. So if I get those off, and then I can slide the cam out. Oh, guys, I'm super sorry. I was gonna show you how I used the valve spring compressor on that, but a buddy of mine showed up who is like, does not want to be on camera ever. And he's an awesome guy. He just doesn't want to be on camera, and he hung out for quite a long time, so I had to get the job done. But anyway, got the head all built back up, new valve seals, got the combustion chamber all cleaned up and shiny, so it's all ready to rock and roll. Give that back to Jared. Although he is my competition in the 40A class, so maybe I'll put like a little sabotage in there. Just kidding. Anyway, guys, it's the end of the week. It's the end of the Shlog. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate all you guys who watch this thing. Punk Rock Club, thank you for sticking around to the end. You know who you guys are. I love you to death. Yeah, I love you. I hope you guys get out and spread the gospel of two wheels, and I desperately hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes!